I didn't think I was that bad. Meeting called to order. 1900. Would anyone like to approve or amend the meeting agenda for tonight's meeting, Tuesday, August 21st, 2018? Approved? Approved?
Yep.
All in favor? Aye. Approve the minutes from June 19, 2018. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Nobody? I didn't hear anybody opposed. Line number 1, floor items. Are there any floor items?
I got a question on all the gravel we're doing, and are we gonna think about retrieving it every spring and bring it back?
Could we get your name?
Oh, Charlie Bettinger.
Some of these guys probably know you, Charlie, but I don't, so. So what was your question again? I'm sorry.
On retrieving the gravel that's in the ditch every spring, bringing it back to the road. There's
Well, that's-
some roads, it's 5 inches thick in the spring, and it won't even grow grass all summer. I mean, all the other cities, townships, they bring it back in and reuse it. I mean, we're spending the money putting the gravel on, let's bring it back in.
Something you can address to that, Joe? But this has been brought up several times before.
Right.
Well, we have a tool for doing that, you know, that just,
Won't work on this grader.
It won't work on this grader?
No.
Is there a way to adapt it?
But go rent one. They do what the other cities do. They rent it and take it back when you're done.
So we have a concern about recapturing gravel in the ditches. Some pretty,
Ditches are full, some of them, so much of it.
You guys some examples of roads?
211th and, what's the one over here by Moritz's? It's on the other end of 211th. But it's about 5 inches thick there.
In the ditch more? Or?
Yeah.
you mow most all them ditches, don't you, Joe?
Yeah.
So is that gravel in there an issue when you're mowing? A problem? So, Mr. Bettinger, what is your reason for bringing that gravel up and out of there and recapturing it?
Let's get some use out of it. You just put it on, and now it's in the ditch in the next spring.
And then obviously it's going in the ditch from wear and tear, grading,
From snowplow.
yep.
But if you look, other cities, they do first thing in the spring, they retrieve it and bring it back in to the road bed.
Yeah, this has been brought up several times over the years.
Yeah,
It's not the first time we've heard about it,
right.
so it's just a matter of what can we do about it, really.
well, if they do have machines like that you can rent.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, I don't think we've
Then
ever,
we're, they are gonna charge anything for ready.
so the attachment we have now, Joe, is that something that was on the old grader?
Yeah.
What are we doing with that attachment? Maybe we should
Sitting
get
on-
rid of it, or
Sitting on.
upgrade, or, so it's just sitting?
Yep.
Let's scrap that one. Well, that one was built by somebody in the township. That was hand built, right, Joe?
Yep.
So what would it take to, adapt it to the current grader?
A lot. You can't see it on the grader.
So you'd need a whole different machine to, how about skid steer? Too difficult in spots? Wouldn't be able to get at that gravel with the skid steer and put it up on the road?
They make a machine for the skid loader.
So they make something you could attach to the skid steer?
They got a reclaimer for a skid loader.
What do they actually call that, that implement?
It's a discus sometimes.
It's they call, well, the outfit that we bought the packer from's got one, it's a reclaimer. That's what they call it.
Just a reclaimer? So when you say reclaimer, I think of a pavement reclaimer.
This is for dirt.
It's just bringing the gravel back on the shoulder or,
Yeah. Well, I guess my question to you guys is that something we need to put on the, even the equipment list for future? Get something bought maybe down the road?
well, like, if you didn't have to get one for the skid loader, you could see pretty good what's going on, instead of on the grader, where you start to see what you're doing.
The skid steer is tracked, right, Joe?
Yeah.
And, where couldn't you use the skid steer in a ditch around here? Is there more places you couldn't use the skid steer versus places you could use the skid steer for this?
I think it goes in quite a few areas. There's not too many places it won't go.
So maybe that's an implement we should look into for the skid steer.
Yep.
Well, you can at least try it and see how it works, and, you don't have anything invested except for the time, if it doesn't work.
Ziegler have, Cat make something like that, or is it made by somebody else?
I don't know if Cat does or not. I never asked him. I can check on it tomorrow.
Okay, so you'll do that?
Yeah.
I think it's worth at least like trying it out,
Make-
and seeing what it's doing. And then,
Make a couple phone calls, maybe get a demo or something, or
Yep.
see what, on the right track?
Yeah, we're spending the money to fix the roads, but the stuff's disappearing.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, I mean, it's, I think it's a fairly easy solution to this.
Then also, I got a washout in the ditch that's been there all spring, and it hasn't been filled in yet on the Hillside Trail.
You familiar with that, Joe?
Yeah.
Just asked me if I was familiar with it.
What's that?
He just asked me if I was familiar with it. I said no.
So there's a washout on Hillside Trail,
Yeah, in the ditch. Right off of North Lake Road.
right off of Norris Lake, you said?
North Lake Road.
Yeah.
It's not it's a washout, but
Is that Joe?
you were
I
saying
know what he's talking about.
muskrats are getting in there or something.
Yeah.
The four-wheelers and snowmobilers were climbing up that hill all winter.
Is that, anything at all that you can look at, or?
I'll look at it and take the grader out.
Okay, so Joel,
You've been by it twice over there.
Well, apparently I didn't see it then, did I? I seen the muskrats.
That's the same hole.
There's some muskrats.
Same hole.
It's a damn big muskrat in the four-wheeler.
well,
It's in the drive lane part of it, so you think,
Well, didn't drive in it, and they'll plug up the hole.
well, when you're out there next with the grader, Joel, it's something you'll take a peek
Yeah.
at then
Yeah,
and see what,
Dan and I went out and looked at it
oh, you've already been out and looked at it?
a while back.
You've looked at it, Dan?
No, I
Oh,
haven't.
Dan, I'm
Dan.
sorry, you said Dan.
I went out and saw it, yeah, and it's, I mean, it was a good couple months ago, so.
All right, come on, let's get this on.
Is there any other floor items? move on then to the 5-year pavement plan. Seen in the minutes from last time, we said we're gonna table it to the next meeting. So, so are we moving Old Viking Boulevard to 2019? Is that kinda what we came up with?
Well, we didn't really come up with anything. 20, Old Viking did not get done this year,
Right?
due to cost. Basically it was, the contractor said would be better off, not just to putting an overlay on, but doing a reclaim.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
That increased the cost by how much was that?
and that increased the cost by a lot.
Yeah, I remember that.
And with the fire up in Superior, that jacked up prices too, so. And then we had the, unexpected, issues with watercress and bison that, we talked about again, so we talked about that again at the council meeting, and because we talked originally about putting watercress back to gravel, at least for the winter, so that the plows got a surface to go on, it would be a matter of how does that fit back in to if I remember right, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, we were talking about putting it back to gravel, then letting them settle for the winter, and then look about putting asphalt back on next spring.
Talked to a contractor today, I met him out there, me and Bob. He said bison, he would just, what he recommended was patching it. Not to exceed $5,000 for the winter, and just overlay the whole road next year.
So just filling the
Well-
patch in the middle of
Cut
the,
it out.
Hey, hang on a minute here, Joe.
Okay.
So, sorry, Dan.
nope, that's fine.
So that's bison
Yep,
patching.
yep,
Who advised you of that?
North Valley,
North Valley Paving?
yep.
Basically just patching up the center of the cul-de-sac.
Yep, cut all the bad spot out. Put class 5 down, pave over. And watercress, he recommends leaving it alone for 1 year.
That's where the dump truck went through last year?
That's what bison went through, well, plow went through watercress. He said the sub base is not that bad right now, so he recommends just leaving it alone. Do something with it next year.
Okay, so just don't touch it at all, and it's not gonna be an issue for the plow?
We'll just have to be careful with it.
Well, that wasn't when the frost was going out, wasn't it? Or when
As
was
it the last snowfalls.
Yeah. Well, that last snowfall was, I had to go a few places for you, cause you were too heavy to go.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah. Watercress was done way earlier than the last one.
no, last two is when all the damage got done. That's what the contractor recommends.
And that's still for 2018 here.
Yep.
Watercress and bison.
Watercress, we're not gonna do
Right.
anything, ain't gonna cost us nothing.
But
Right.
but the contractor was saying to leave watercress alone, so we shouldn't have to worry about
Right.
that.
But we got bison in here that we're talking about as well.
Right, which would be to do a patch would be not, patch would not be something that we would assess. We should be able to take that out of existing funds to just patch, to get it back so we can drive on it. And
Yep, not to exceed 5,000.
what Joe was saying, then next year it would be worth looking at actually doing that whole cul-de-sac with an overlay, if I heard you correct.
Right,
And did you say North Valley was gonna do that, Joe? Or you guys?
North Valley, I ain't touching it.
So for 2018, we still have watercress, bison, ditch cleaned on basalt at 20450.
It's in taken care of. I mean, it's been contracted out.
So the ditch cleaning is taken care of on basalt,
It's been contracted out, yeah.
so we can scratch that one for 2018.
Right, we took care of, right,
Watercress we're leaving alone.
we got a bid and approved to take care of the ditch, yes, that should be done.
So the only thing left for 2018 is Bison.
Yep.
Which I'm assuming since Bob was there, he's gonna take care of putting everything together to get it to council for next month. But I'll verify that with Bob.
So Watercress is being left alone. Bison is still in the works here.
Bison will be patched this year, right?
And that's been approved by city council already?
No, that hasn't come back to council again. The,
We just got the info on that.
there was a quote to patch the whole cul-de-sac and half of the road up to, for what, 200 and some odd feet?
210.
Yeah, so, but that didn't, in the end, it was, well, why don't we put, it was some more conversation about just leaving that for gravel, putting that back to gravel for the winter, see how it settles in, and then come back and overlay it on top, but then Joe was saying that Bob, Joe, and North Valley met, and that they recommended just patching up the center of the cul-de-sac for now. So that will come back to next council meeting in September.
Okay. So
So
we don't need
we
to
don't
do
need to
anything
worry,
with
do
it.
anything, right?
It will go to the council.
I'll
Next
talk to
month.
Bob and one way, and if Bob, Joe, and North Valley talked about it, I'm assuming Bob's gonna take care of that, but I will confirm with that with him.
So what do we have on the, so that takes care of 2018, right? Or am I missing something? Is that right, Joe?
Yep.
So then for 2019 here, I still have a note here of Garnett, Pinnaker, and 218th. Oh, drainage, that's where we ended up with that. We thought that, or, well, not that one, but on the Ebony and Garnett and Krypton Street, there was more of a drainage issue around that whole area than anything else before. I think that was the recommendation made back in June, is the drainage issues should be.
I personally wouldn't wait for the drainage issue to get solved, because we'll be our grandkids will die of old age. So I would go ahead and put that on the list to be overlaid.
Krypton?
Ebony and Garnett.
So for 2019 then, Ebony and Garnett and Krypton Street. Right?
We originally talked for 2019, the last time we had the conversation about the 5-year plan, for 2019, we were going to do Krypton, Garnett Street and Miller Lake Estates, and those were the two that we were gonna do for 2019. The challenge discussion we had about the 5-year plan was, do we need to hold something back in case we start running into repairs that need to be made, and not just putting for other things as they come up, because there are several different projects that have come up regarding some culverts and regarding some patching and whatnot, that do we need to work that in to the
So-
5-year plan?
So at this point, do we wanna just, for 2019, do we just wanna leave Krypton and Garnett?
If we left,
And then have some wiggle room for some of these other projects that you're mentioning, Dan?
because that would leave us some wiggle room for doing the overlay on Watercress if we need to put that back to blacktop.
Yep. Yep.
And not necessarily going in whole hog, but kind of seeing how
Right.
things go.
Right, I agree with that plan, I think that's a good plan. You, Dan? You look puzzled.
Well, Krypton, at the bottom there, Joel, right where that intersection is before the cul-de-sac, that's pretty beat up there. Has that been addressed at all?
Speed up.
Further, you go in a
Way
ways,
in.
and before you take a right.
Yep, well, right in that
on
area,
corner,
yeah,
It's
yep.
pretty beat up, yeah.
I mean, that's,
Mm-hmm.
come springtime, that's gonna be really bad. But that's just one spot there.
Right, and that goes back to, if I recall correctly, what, I'd have to go find it quick, what Shane was saying specifically about Krypton is before we, you know, that that an overlay wouldn't necessarily work everywhere because there would be some base work in there that needed to be
Yeah,
looked
like
at
that,
too. Or some patchwork that needed to be done along with it.
Would that still fall into the whole Krypton project? Yeah?
Yeah, but we're pushing that back, sounds like, aren't we?
Well, 2019,
Is that, okay, that's what it is, okay.
around the corner.
Oh, so
Right.
next year, okay.
So there's,
I'm sorry, yeah.
right, so there's 2,100 feet of the whole length of Krypton. There were areas of pavement failures that indicate inadequate structural strength. And so then Shane was talking about a 2-inch overlay.
Yep, no, I'm sorry, if it's next year, that's fine.
So we had,
So what is the thought on old Viking then?
see if Ellen can get the permission to buy lottery tickets and start playing.
But I mean,
City's
that's
money.
been the biggest discussion item, and now it's really pushed back, it sounds like.
Well, I think it definitely needs to come back into the mix. For sure. Then we'd have to move some other stuff around because, yeah, my notes here from June say that, we had 2020, we had Rolling Hills, Meadows of Verde Valley, Morton Farm Reserves. 2021, we had half of Rogers Lake. 2022, we had the other half of Rogers Lake and the remainder of Garnett Street. And in 23, we had 185th Clifton and 187th, 218th. Now I got a note here about this Prairie Brook Estates going into 2019.
That doesn't ring a bell. The estimate for full depth reclaim of Old Viking with a 2-inch base course and an 1.5-inch wear course was almost $800,000. This, to do it this year.
For Old Viking.
So what did that jump up?
It went from 540 to 800.
Okay. Joe, when we patched it on this end, did you guys do that? Those holes from the spring on Old Viking?
Put about 4 tons of patching mix on it.
That was, I mean, I can't believe there weren't flat tires on that stuff. Those are some doozies.
So what's the negative side of doing half of Old Viking Boulevard one year
It's not bad.
and the other half of Old Viking Boulevard the next year?
Well, it's cheaper for the city, it's still the same assessment.
Well, it wouldn't be.
No, but it'll be higher, but I mean, assessment doesn't change anything. That amount is the amount.
I mean, it's roughly 4 miles.
It would change the assessments,
Be-
because if you do half Old Viking, say from 66
Oh, I
to
see,
5.
then you're dividing it differently.
You have
Yeah,
a different, you
right.
have more, at least according to my count, you've got
Yeah,
more houses on the.
You'd have to cut the driveways, you'd have to go by half the driveways to make the assessments not change. You know what I mean? I get it.
Just do half the road.
So one negative to that idea is assessments. That'd be a negative.
My rough count would be if you did, say, from, Cleary up to Nowland Boulevard, you have more houses, where
Yeah.
from Cleary to 47, you have fewer houses.
Right.
I don't understand why that's negative though.
It's
What's
not-
the negativity? What's the
Well,
negative
then,
side of that?
see, if you did the whole road, people won't pay as much versus if you just did from Cleary to Nowland Boulevard.
but from Cleary to Nowland Boulevard, you only assess those people.
Yeah.
You
that
would,
portion.
yes, yeah.
No matter what?
No matter
Yeah.
what, you would
Oh,
only assess
okay.
those people.
Well,
It would
Yeah,
be a
but
matter
there's
of,
less houses on the other side, just split up that cost.
They would
so
have
it's
more-
gonna be way up.
it would be higher for the south, for
Okay, yeah.
the east.
It
Yeah.
might go from 4,000 up to about 8,000-9,000.
That's the advantage of doing it in one.
Right.
You spread out the assessment a little bit.
That's me.
And those numbers, Dan, are estimates from Shane.
No, that's actually from,
Did Brad give us that?
Okay.
that was Shane's, that was actually from, those were 2018, and 2018 estimate from Shane.
So you have no actuals
No,
from any contractors.
not here on this paper, no.
No, you won't get them till it goes up for bids.
I mean, if North Valley Paving will do it for X amount of dollars, maybe Knife River will come in here and do it for 10% less.
Right, that's why he ain't gonna give you no prices.
Huh?
That's why Brad ain't gonna give you no prices.
Yeah,
He's not gonna advertise it.
yeah, I mean, this is kinda, we gotta have some hard numbers here.
But we won't, we'll only have Shane's numbers. That's as hard as we'll get.
Right, cause he's gonna spec it
How
out.
can we pick that apart, Phil, and come up with a little better plan, a little better idea here?
So you have, in essence, where we're at right now, you have two-year projects, if at today's prices. Cause it's gonna take with what we're putting in the fund and approximately what the city would be putting in. Old Viking and Rogers Lake are gonna probably be up there at the same, approximately the same cost. So where we're saying we're gonna use 2 years worth of budget on Rogers Lake, it theoretically is gonna be the same thing for Old Viking would be, in my opinion, right now. Unless something else happens. I mean, we're looking at other projects and we still need to have some back for repairs as they come up.
Well, I think Old Viking should probably go back in the mix, but you know, you guys have heard me say this several times over the years, is here again, Ebony and Garnett, which we've gotten the most complaints from residents for years on, and they're getting pushed aside again. It's just,
I wouldn't push them aside, I'd put them on the list. I'd overlay that thing.
you know, I think we gotta take a little harder look here at prioritizing projects. Based on, of course, the condition. But let's throw in a little other element here and base it on residents complaining. Is anybody on Old Viking Boulevard complaining? You getting a lot of complaints?
The biggest complaint we get on Old Viking is speed limit.
Is what?
It's the speed limit. They want the speed. They want it slower.
So nobody's complaining about the condition of the road?
Speed limit doesn't matter.
As far as
You can put 10 miles an hour on it, but if there's nobody there to enforce it.
Right.
Right, but
I understand that.
that's what the people are talking about,
Right,
they're not
that's what they're
complaining
talking
about the
about.
condition of
Right
the
now, it's
road.
50 miles an hour, people's going down at 80. They're racing side by side, and the cops are sitting over at the fire station. So, it ain't gonna be any good.
That's a whole nother issue.
no, but I'm just saying. You asked what the biggest complaint was. That's what I'm
Speed.
hearing is
Okay.
the speed. It's
Speed.
not
I
necessarily.
hear about the rough road of Old Viking, I hear about it.
You do hear about it?
Oh, yeah. I won't take the grader down anymore. It's too hard on the grader.
Well, that is an awful big chunk of change to bite off of, you know. Has to be done, it's just a matter of what's affordable for the city and that first project, Dan, by off of Pinnaker there, how did that go? It's all done, right?
It should be all done now.
Nice,
Yeah.
it's real nice.
But how did it go? I mean, as far as through the process?
There were certainly people who raised concern that it had to be done. There were certainly people going, well, it's good enough for now, why can't it be put off for a couple years?
Yeah,
but I would think when there's that graph that we've all seen that Shane put up with the curve basically going, you
Yeah.
wanna keep the road in the top part,
Yep.
to keep the cost down. I think that influenced a lot of people, and it was like, okay, let's get this done now.
So that was at an open meeting. And
So-
then that
so
was
the-
one of the first steps.
So the 2 hearings happened,
Yep.
and Shane had the presentation. So the last and final hearing hasn't been scheduled yet with the actual final numbers and the final assessment. But I would think that should be coming up here.
But the bid letting went out okay. Everything stayed on schedule, everything went smooth. How was it finance bonded?
No, we paid. We did the assessment, and then we paid our part. That we haven't issued bonds for the rest as of yet.
Oh, that's right, cause you gotta have a final hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and then we fixed that one pump on
213.
213th at the same time. Dip, wasn't a hump, yeah.
So did the council learn anything from that whole process, or?
You know, I would think the process worked, and as Bob, our attorney, and Shane went through it, everything went as they would have expected.
As they expected, fairly smooth and.
And yeah, it's
Yeah.
you know, I've driven on it, it's certainly
Yeah,
nice.
if I remember right, that wasn't a real expensive project, was it?
No, and the price did go up from the estimate, again, for the same reason, but it wasn't as much, compared to the, increase on Old Viking. So,
So you're ready for a second project then?
just to do, the original project on Old Viking, to put things in perspective, is our original estimate, we were saying it'd be around 540.
Right,
The original estimate was about 100,000 more. After Shane put all the engineer, applied all the factors to it.
so it went up to about 6.5?
Mm-hmm. So,
In that Pinnaker Lake, the project off of Pinnaker there that we were talking about, was that about 100.5? Or am I thinking of something else?
no, you're in the ballpark.
About 100.5, wasn't it?
The feasibility report was an estimate at 146, and I don't recall exactly what the bid came in for.
You don't have hard numbers? What do you got?
Where's your 5-year plan?
Got it all drawn out? So, 2019, we've got that figured out.
I changed it.
So you put Ebony and Garnett,
Yep.
and Krypton, which we
That
had.
was the original 2019 plan. Now, are we doing Watercrest in there too?
So Joe's proposing that 2020, we do Old Viking. I think that's a good plan. Get her
We
going.
should give him some time, figure out how to get the money in the bond.
Yep. 2021, Gypsy Valley, Xenon, and 218th. 2022, 185th, Clifton, and 187th. 2023, 189th. What's this one?
Lithium.
Lithium,
Oh,
187th, and Krypton.
Krypton, 187, it's a dead end street. It's probably not on your list. So off 66.
What do you guys think of that plan?
I-
Or is it way off of what we're?
You read too fast, I couldn't put pieces together.
Okay,
Because if I have to propose something, I need to know what it is.
all right. See how it changes or differs from what we've had from back in June. All right, so here's what is on the table now. 2019, with Krypton, Ebony and Garnett.
And both of those are gonna have base work, because Krypton has the one patch and there's all the alligator cracking on Ebony and Garnett.
Ain't that much, though.
So that's pretty much the same as what we had back in,
That was the
May and
original
June.
2019
Yeah.
plan.
Yep.
Mhm.
so 2020. Old Viking. And that would be instead of Rolling Hills, Meadows of Verde Valley, and Morton Farm Reserves.
And
And, you know, that's such a big, huge project. Boy, that's gonna be all by itself.
And that's the reclaim version, yes, or is that overlay?
Whatever, hopefully it's reclaimed.
Yeah.
Cause I'd say we came in, we were just doing the overlay and North Valley went, nah, you really need to be doing the
It
reclaim.
needs to be tore up, it needs to be reclaimed.
Is Gypsy Valley Xenon 218, that's not a part of the Rogers Lake area, is it?
No.
No,
So, so you'd have that, Dan?
2020 for Old Viking, is that a 2-year pay, is that a paid over 2 years project?
1 year.
1 year.
And that, were we looking at 835 tentatively right now
Yep, to do it
with the reclaim?
with the reclaim with the,
We figure Old Viking's $1 million, just figure $1 million.
the cost to do just a 2.5 base course, and then it was, one option was to just do a 2.5 base course now and do an overlay later, but that would be, you're looking at come on, 60,000 to do it and just get it done.
So. Gypsy Valley, Xenon, 218th.
And is that the little piece of 218th?
Just a
Joe?
dead end street.
The dead end?
Yep.
Yeah. Here's my laptop.
2022, 185th. Clifton,
And 187th.
Oh, okay. How, does that go all the way to 5?
Yes,
The whole stretch,
yes,
past the Berry Farm?
yes.
Okay.
Now are we gonna throw watercress in there?
and 187th.
Throw watercress in there too.
2022?
With 185th.
And is watercress gonna last for till 2022?
It's gonna have to last or something.
2023, 189th, lithium, 187th. Is that takeoff of 2022 there?
That's on
Yeah,
the east.
That's west side.
It's on the east side,
East
Which-
side
which
of
side?
Cleary.
east.
Oh,
side of
oh,
Cleary.
east side.
And
Oh,
Krypton,
that, okay, that's short, okay.
that's what Joe is,
Krypton.
Advisor.
Whoa. Krypton?
Yeah,
Krypton.
I had Krypton,
187.
you had Krypton on 120.
yeah, 187 turns into Krypton. On the east side.
So
Oh.
you're completely skirting over the original 2020, 2021, 2022? No, 2023, we had 185th Clifton, so that didn't change.
That got moved up a year. Clifton got moved up from 2023 to 2022. And and Rogers Lake isn't in here at all.
We do that in 2024. And we got every other big project.
When did 185th get paved?
93.
So that's older than Gypsy Valley and,
Yeah.
okay.
Bill, what do you think of that idea of Joe's?
Well, it's a plan.
Bill?
Joe, you're kinda based on conditions, aren't you?
Well, I'm trying to throw a big project in every other year.
Yep.
That way you're not putting all the money out in one year.
That makes sense, Dan?
So then the challenge is gonna be what's gonna be needed to keep these up until we get to there.
Well, we've been doing it for 50 years, so I guess we can continue doing what we're doing.
Like, do we need to have some more maintenance money budgeted so that we can get these to last that long?
But which ones are we worried about? Watercress?
Like Watercress, like Rogers Lake. If we're just patching Bison when we're not and it was recommended to do an overlay of Bison, that's not in here. If that's gonna be assessed back, or is that just coming out of,
Well, the $5,000, you're not gonna assess that.
that's just for the patch, that would not be assessed, correct? I heard you say then look at doing an overlay
want
next year.
Look at it, doing an overlay on the cul-de-sac. That's just a small, that's just peanuts compared to the rest of this.
Dana, you wanna
I
voice
mean,
an
the town
opinion
board
on
can
the?
tweak it, they can do it, they just a plan, they can tweak it, whatever they wanna do with it.
Yeah.
Right, it's pretty big changes from what we started with. But, gotta move forward, I guess.
So we don't need to worry about Garnett in Miller Lake Estates for a while, is what I'm hearing.
Well, you guys gotta refresh my memory here, because Garnett, is there two separate Garnets?
We got 3 Garnets.
Ebony and Garnett.
Three Garnets?
There's Ebony and Garnett that we've been talking about.
And
And
that's
then
that's the one that's in 2019, correct?
Yes, and then there's been Garnett Street, and that's part of Miller Lake Estates.
Oh, I'd be up off of Norris Lake Road.
So, no, right. Mhm.
That road's in pretty fair shape, yet, isn't it?
And then there's the Garnett that goes north of Norris Lake, then there's the teeny cul-de-sac that goes
Yeah.
south.
And those roads aren't that old. They haven't been there all that many years. The north one has, the one going
Yeah,
south, I
one's
can't.
newer,
Yeah, that one is,
the 90, boy, what would that be? 2000?
excuse me.
Yeah, it's in 2000s.
Yeah.
And then the 218th we're talking about, that's off of Xenon.
Yep.
I think if we're concerned about the Garnett that goes south of Norris Lake Road, I think that one can get pushed out a ways yet. I don't think that's anything to be concerned about. That's just my opinion. The one going north, I ain't been down that road in a long time, but I don't think the one going north is all that bad, is it?
No. Shane put the list together, easy roads to get the city's feet wet.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
our toes got in the water, so now it's just jump in. Just do it.
I definitely would agree with Joe on the 2020 on Old Viking. Gives us some time to gives the council some time to, learn more and get some more experience under their belt with this stuff and can't continue to put that off. And then Ebony and Garnett down here that we've been fighting for years, you know, that needs to be on the top of the list.
That's next year.
Yep.
2019, yeah.
And I would say then that includes fixing the base work and getting them, seeing what we can be done, just like we talked about on Old Viking, to see what we can do to get the water where it needs to go, so it's not on the road.
Grandkids will die of old age.
Well, we could certainly look into it and just research.
It can be, Shane was mentioning, basically that can be, you know, an add-on, so to speak. Cause I don't like, if we're gonna just, if we're just putting overlays on, then who's to say that the overlays are gonna, if that's not patching it, if the overlays aren't fixing it, how, then the overlays are gonna give out.
Right, yeah. Well, the Rogers Lake areas are gonna get pushed out then. Right? If we went with Joe's plan, the Rogers Lake areas are gonna get pushed out. Anybody got any opposition to that?
Yeah, it's stay pushed out to,
Well, we're going into 24, 25.
the plan.
3 more years from the last,
Yeah.
from last year's 5-year plan.
And then the Rolling Hills, Meadows of Verde Valley, and Morton Farm Reserves is gonna get pushed out, right?
Correct. To be TBD.
Is there any opposition to Joe's plan?
So Gypsy, just clarifying, now that we've done Pinnaker, we're talking Gypsy Valley, is that, that's including that the cul-de-sac off on Tungsten there? I'm assuming?
Yeah.
And is that, and is that including, then that's including 213th?
Yep. So Gypsy Valley.
Yeah, it curves
Right.
on the 213th.
It curves onto 213th, and there's where we fixed the,
Yep, right there.
right there, the culvert in that one spot. And then Xenon is just, what, up the road?
Yep.
Oh, that's right, right off of 213th. Right here. Yeah.
That's not even on there right now. I'm wondering if there's another Xenon.
Which Xenon,
Blacktop.
oh, that short one, okay, yeah,
The short stretch
the short
here.
stretch that
Talking
runs
about
up the
Blacktop, I
Pinnacle.
think.
So you slept in gravel for many years.
Okay, cause that,
You keep going if you want.
cause that little bit wasn't
Right.
mentioned in,
Take that all the way to 218.
and then that's 218,
The one people get spoiled up there.
Yeah,
I'm assuming.
They complain too much.
yeah, right.
So it's this whole piece in the middle. It's basically we're pushing out from Pinnaker and getting Xenon in that cul-de-sac. (218th) is Prairie Brook Estates.
Whatever. It's 218th.
That's where Prairie Brook Estates is, on where 218th is.
You know what?
Off of Xenon. Yeah, okay, just, so we're staying in the same, we're staying in the same area that we were this year. We're just pushing it out a little bit. No, that's 2021, what am I thinking?
So,
We're on number 3.
hang on, Joe, hang on. Do we need to present this 5-year plan or just holding on to it now? We'll work on future meetings on refining it.
Here's what I would be considering, if we know for sure this is what we're gonna do for 2019, then we should start, it's getting to the point where we should start getting the process going on those 2019 projects. Cause
Okay.
it's gonna take so
Okay.
that we can, cause we got the hearings and all the work for Shane and that can go.
So do we need to put something together then in a motion for the city council to start the process on Krypton and Garnett?
Ebony and Garnett.
Ebony. Ebony.
That's the one south of here.
Yep.
Krypton, Ebony and Garnett for 2019. We're gonna go with Joe's plan and we'll refine it over future meetings.
If we have to.
We'll work on it a little bit, Phil. A little bit. We'll tweak it here and there. How do we wanna word the motion here then?
So,
Can I ask a question here, Mark? The patching of potholes on, Old Lake, that's gonna happen this year yet?
Again?
That's been done.
It's done, been done already?
It's gotta be patched again,
Where at?
everywhere.
Is that on the schedule, Joe?
Oh, yeah, we have to do it as
That's
needed.
on the schedule for 2018, is that correct?
No, well, yeah, you know, on paper, that's maintenance. We're not talking about maintenance. Yeah, it's gonna get done.
That's his potholes, right?
I just bought a repair.
Does that answer your question, Bill, or you, yes, no, maybe?
Yes? We gotta get that done then, those potholes.
If we don't get to it in time, go ahead and start without us. Motion by,
What are you putting on the paper, Joe?
motion by somebody for Krypton Ebony for 2019.
Yeah.
Ebony and Garnett.
Yeah, I'll make that motion for Krypton, Ebony and Garnett,
Second.
2019, for the city council to take it under advisement and move forward with it as they need to.
to do the overlay as well as repair base work as needed.
Yeah.
And that is what I'm talking about, refining these projects over future meetings.
Well, is that?
So that
is
the
that
city
including
council-
Any culvert work and anything like, such as that also?
Just needing culvert work down there.
See, I think if we refined each project a little bit, it helps the city council. And I believe that's kind of our duty as a board or committee, is to help the council. So I think being a little bit more specific and refined with each project as we go will help them.
Smooth it out a little bit.
Yeah, so they don't, I mean, we're just kind of dumping a jigsaw puzzle in their lap here, and I don't think that's right as a committee member, for any committee to do that to the city council. I think our duty is to help the city council.
The original discussions that I specifically recall Shane saying was, if we're just planning on an overlay, then that's not including any base work and subgrade. Well, and that was specifically what Shane is saying, that there are subgrade repairs that need to be looked at for Ebony and Garnett. So if we're gonna do all that,
So over the next 3 months, let's say, so it would be September, October, November, at our meetings then, we can come with more information, each of us or none of us, whatever, and we can kind of refine what the Ebony, Garnett, and Krypton is going to need for 2019. And hopefully we can kind of package it and present it a little clearer to the council.
We can't wait so long.
which is fine.
We can wait that long?
I think we have
Honestly,
time for that,
I
don't we?
would think we could probably get away with one more discussion about what we're gonna be doing for 2019, but then that probably needs to get going.
Okay, so on,
Yeah.
so on next month's meeting, Joe, we'll put on, that'll be one of the items on the agenda. I mean, everybody's got some surveys and research from the engineers, and I don't know exactly who's got time to go drive and look at these roads other than Bill, but, you know. He seems pretty busy.
Yeah, they're gonna be busy potholing.
You should be busy potholing, Bill is.
All right, did you,
Yep, table till next month.
okay.
Well, should, do you wanna bring that up though, the council? Should we still push for that, or you don't
We're
wanna?
gonna discuss it again next month.
No, I think the council can be warned and expect it and know what's coming at them.
That's all I'm saying.
Right, right. I
All right,
agree
so
with
you
Dan
want-
on that.
want me to
We
put your
still
brochure
need a
back in?
motion to, present it to the council.
React. React motion. All right,
And then in the next month or two, we will, as a committee, try to bring more knowledgeable information, more,
Specific?
is that,
oh, you said the magic word. From this council, from this committee?
from this committee to the council to try to ease their thought process and, this don't have to be an emotion, Joe. You already got what you need.
Yeah, but then,
Keep riding, you know.
but then my humble request is that if the council has any concerns about that, let us know. So we don't go down the wrong path, that they're not gonna ultimately bless it.
So I'll say right now, the concern's gonna be, if we're gonna do Ebony and Granite, then it's more than just an overlay, we're gonna have to do, making sure that everything that's
Yeah.
underneath is sound.
But then this also means you're letting them know about our thoughts on Old Viking.
So basically, are we basically going to say, here's our proposal for the next 5 years? And that.
Yes.
I think we have to, cause
Okay. Then
because
that-
things can change, and then sometimes we're
And
gonna
actually
get a little
we'll do-
surprised.
And actually, we'll do 6, cause we'll throw in Rogers Lake.
Yeah,
So we already have one agenda item for next month, Joe. What do you know about that?
All right, so it's basically, here's the 6-year plan to give to the council
Yep,
as written down.
yes. All in favor?
Is there a second?
I seconded it, I'll
Okay.
re-second, and
All right, now you can vote.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on, Joe. This next one's an easy one.
This should
Is
be,
it?
This should be extremely difficult. I would, if I was on the committee, I would be grilling this next individual very.
Well, let's see, I think I got an application here. Line 3 is an application for a Road and Bridge Committee member, Al Vile. Well, we all know Al Vile. And naturally, Al, you know that the ultimate decision is up to the city council.
Yeah, yeah.
So, from my personal opinion, point of view, I would certainly welcome you back. So I would advise the city council to allow you to come back on this committee. That's my opinion. Anybody want to add anything?
And what did you base that on?
Good guy in the community, stellar citizen, stellar resident. I think, Bill, on a more serious note, that it's pretty great when a person wants to be involved in their community. And I think I really feel that's what Al enjoys,
You
so,
second.
Yeah, we're short one person anyway.
yeah.
So I would basically would be filling his own spot, yeah, the spot he vacated, yeah.
You want this chair back, Al?
No, you're doing okay.
Well, that's an opinion.
You're doing this one.
I'll
I
make,
second it, so.
all in favor?
I,
Motion
Aye.
carries. All opposed? All the good stuff?
All
So
right.
it's going to the city council, Al. We'll let them tell you if you're on board or not, I guess.
Yep.
Not a problem. We'll bring those two. I'll talk to Bob about those two. And we will go from there.
Any other discussion?
Well, we didn't introduce the visitor that was here.
I don't know who that
Would you
is,
like
Bill.
to introduce yourself?
Hi, Joel Greenberg, citizen now and running for a city office spot.
Oh,
The city council.
City council.
I was,
Joel Greenberg.
I was,
Lives right down here, right?
I live 2 miles north.
On Pike.
Yeah, so the old Greenberg farm there, Hannah and Kermit's farm, I'm like one of their kids.
The dump truck?
That's my cousin. There's Greenbergs everywhere.
I just know where the
around
dump truck's at.
No.
I've heard that name.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot or anything, I just wanted.
So Harvey and my dad are first cousins.
oh, okay. The reason I didn't do that, Bill, is because I guess I expected anybody to say something during floor items. But I think you walked in shortly after floor
I
items,
think so.
I thought he was gonna have me in Gardner.
so
All right, are we done?
I apologize.
I didn't know I was supposed to be introduced. I thought I was just a spectator.
Well, that too.
Well, you might as well.
Next meeting you'll be up here getting involved.
Now everybody knows you're in the school.
So it's Joel, Joel, Joel Greenberg, and you're running for one of the city council spots.
Yeah.
Who's up this year? Rainville and, no,
Paul and Randy.
Paul and Randy.
And Paul was running again.
Paul's running again.
Oh, okay. And,
Randy has chosen not to.
oh, okay. So I will make a motion to adjourn. We did?
Yes, there he is.